So today we're going to be talking about, of course, marketing, which is why everybody's here. Engaging your customers, creating your websites, getting analytics and all that. So to begin, we're going to be talking about those main three products, right? Your website, which I consider the face of your store. So if you have a store, usually your website wants to be the face of your store, right? When a customer comes into your store, do you let them come in? They sit here, nobody interacts with them. You're not really sure why they're here, what they're looking at. Are you engaging those customers, or do you know what works? So the same way you're in a store and you have to tell, okay, I have my website, people go on here and it represents my store. When people go on in your store, usually there's an interaction with another human being. On a website, of course, it's not the same thing. So we want to know, what are people doing on our website when they go in there? Is my website actually working? Does this color actually work? I made a website yesterday, and one of the first suggestions I got was, hey, instead of saying videos, why don't you just say home screen, which is where your videos are. So we have our website, we want to see how it works, but we also need to interact with our customers, because usually nowadays people love instant gratification. If they go on a website and nothing is appealing to them, they will leave in about 7 seconds or maybe a little bit more. So what we want to do is not only create a website that represents our store, we want to know what works, but we also want to be able to engage those customers, which is where SalesIQ comes into play. This is where you are getting those people to interact with your bot. If you have maybe customer service agents, they can come in and take over. But this way, your customers are not being left without answers if your website is not conveying everything your store is about. So to begin, we're just following on the marketing channels. So on my section, we'll be covering the website portion. So let's begin with my question again. Does your website represent your store? All right, so the goal is to make that website a part of yourself, because it is your personality. Your store is just like your home. You invest your time in there, so you want your website to have that, whatever message you're trying to convey, whether it's a welcome email, whether it's like a very strong message you're trying to convey, you want that website to represent it. So we're gonna look into Zoho Sites. I'm not a developer. I can't code to save my life. And the whole purpose is to show you that even a novice can actually create a website in Zoho Sites, and you don't need heavy code. All you need is an idea, pen and paper, and some pictures to actually make it pretty. So let's get started. So of course, you know the Zoho One admin panel, which is where we can access all our different applications, right? So we're going to begin with Zoho Sites. For this scenario, I have a friend of mine, Rashad, who is a journalist, and he also is a video producer. He has a regular website. People visit that website. And it conveys a message. It shows the product that he delivers, the work that he does. But we wanted to kind of update that a little bit, make it a bit more engaging, see how he can actually track who's going on his website. So what I did, not to discredit his main website, I made 2 different versions of his website. So just for a preview, this is his main website. He's a photographer / journalist, cinematographer. Those are his different productions that he's created. And it's a fairly clean website, right? You can see the page here, some basic info that you need on there, and you can see his product. Here, there's a bio of who he is as a journalist. And then there's the contact section, which really pissed me off. Because nowadays, if you go on a website, I do not want to copy your email and then send you an email. I need to have a contact form or something that's automated so we can actually do it, and the customer or your customers don't spend extra time. Because right now, just seeing this, it's pretty cute, but if I have to copy the email, go to Gmail and send you an email, it's not worth my time. So the goal is to make that website where we are getting people's attention, but we also are able to interact with them. So we know, hey, this person went on my webpage, how long were they there? What product were they looking at? If they were on page number 4 for the slim fit jeans or something like that, can we maybe send them a promotion afterward? Because we know now what they're looking at, what they're clicking, how long they're staying on there. So let's go back to Zoho Sites for a second. This is the first version that I created of his website. So not as neat as his. I made a couple adjustments as far as the look is pretty much almost the same, right? Here we have some elements that I added the picture and some text. Again, no coding necessary. Because he uploads all his videos on YouTube, all I had to do is embed those. So here on Zoho Sites, it tells me I can actually go ahead and add an element. So each section you see here was considered an element. So if you think of your website, it's like a canvas. You're drawing a picture, and what do you want people to see? You have your banner, you have your header, and then here we have the content. So if I select an element, I can add different things in here, whether it's an image, a carousel, I can embed my code. And this is where for the Zoho One users or anybody using different Zoho products, you will see how easy it is to integrate with different Zoho tools. So instead of going to your page, finding the code, adding all of this, I can simply say, all right, I need to embed a code in here. Where is that code coming from? Any other tool, I would need to put that in here. But if I go to my setting page, on the left, on the configuration, you notice that it's showing you all the different Zoho tools that you can automatically integrate with. So for example, we mentioned SalesIQ, that little bot that wants to chat with our customers. If I go to SalesIQ Live Chat, I can actually automatically connect that and update it to my website. So here, again, no coding is being done. So then I have my pages, right? Here I have the different pages I've created. Let's click on one. Fairly simple. What's the first page? What are we going to call it? Do I want a title or not? And then here, if there's any other code that I need to include, I can do that as well. So this is the very first website that I kind of played with. Then we decided, why not make a different version of that to see what works? So this one's my black theme one. And here I have a slightly different one. Now, how did I get, I mean, it's pretty much almost the same thing, right? Just a white label on the left. And if you scroll down, you can still see the same content. But the cool thing is when you go on a website, most website builders now give you themes. You just pick a theme with a different format that you want, whether it's like this one or the previous version, you select it, and now you can go ahead and actually customize that. So let's look at those other websites on their live page. So here's the first one. And I have my little bot here who is a cute bunny. And of course, I have my little bot now that's going to chat with me. We're going to focus a little bit more on the SalesIQ section in a minute, but it's just to show you how easy it will be to create your website, just having your pictures and photos, whatever you're trying to convey, and almost good to go. So what we're going to do now, Zoho Sites, I mean, I could sit here and try to build a website, but we want to focus on what tools can we actually use to make things better for us. But what you really want is also, in addition to conveying that message, what am I getting? What data? Because right now, we all know data is gold. If I know what my customers want, I know what to market, I know what to send them. But if I'm building a website and I'm not sure who's going to come, it's just sitting here. It's like a store with no customers in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to be going over with, this was a little bit of a demo of Zoho Sites. So of course, we want to build our website, we want to make it look good, and we want to integrate with tools that will give us the data that we need to move forward. So my next question is, do you know your customers? Who are the people you're trying to get business from? How often do you interact with them? How often do they come to your store? So what we're going to do now with PageSense, we want to see what's working. So on Warshad's website, there were three main components, right? There's the home page, where you can see the content that he's created. Then there's a quick bio telling the customers who he is. And here we have a contact section. So here I created the first one in here, and you notice that now you can actually just fill it in instead of actually copying an email and sending it. But what's pretty cool is that if I chat with my bot, as my bot is asking me a question, it will also generate a lead now in the CRM. So I technically won't even need the contact us section anymore if my customers are interacting with my bot. So what we're going to do, let's pull up PageSense and kind of see how we can flow with this. So here, this is the main page of PageSense. Usually, before you start analyzing anything, you need what? A goal. Exactly, because we don't know what we're analyzing. Do we want to know how many people are clicking on that particular link? How many people are coming to my website? What are they doing when they go on that website? And what are key parts of my website that people are actually spending more time on? So the first thing on there, of course, is a goal. So if I go ahead and create a goal, here it gives me a couple options. Remember I mentioned in Zoho Sites, you have your different elements you can add, whether it's a picture, a video, or a code. So do we want to track an element? Is there a specific link that we're tracking? And you see some of the options in here. So let's call this one test A. Now I need to put in the actual website that I'm going to be tracking, right? So we'll pick this one. So here I have the website, but it wants to know, okay, what are we tracking right now? So here, if I click on this section, it's going to pull up the website, and now I can specify which element that I want PageSense to actually track. So if we scroll down a bit, let's say I wanted to see this track video here. And maybe, what else do we want to capture? Let's go to bio. So every time I select one of the elements, you notice that this section here is being filled. So now it's telling the system, hey, track either bio. Let's also go ahead and track, let's see what else we want to keep track of here. This video element, and this one. So I've selected all the elements on my website that I want it to actually monitor. So now we have the elements that we want to track. On the right, actually, you can see your goal's been set. You've set up the page that you want to track and the elements, and now all you're ready to do is launch. But before we even go that far, one thing I missed is how do I actually enable that on my website? Because I didn't show you where I went and actually added that code. I just started, right? So if I go back to Zoho Sites, remember how I mentioned it's really easy to integrate with Zoho products? So again, I'm back on my website. I go to settings, and right here, it shows me PageSense where I can integrate with. But let's say you're not too familiar with that. You just went to PageSense and you got the code snippet, and you're not really sure what to do with it, right? So maybe I'll take that, I'll copy it, and if I go to my website now, I could do my preferences and add it to maybe my header or something like that. And here I can actually add my code in here. As simple as that. If I want it on the header or the footer, I paste my code, and now it's in there. So we go to PageSense, and you even ask you to verify if the code is on here. So if you actually copy your website, so we'll see if I did a good job or not. So it's successful. It recognizes that the code is in there, it verified it, so we actually have a code already in our website. Now we just have to specify what do I want it to track. So here we have our experiments, right? So we have our goals, and you can tell that my goals are not working so well right now. I've only had 3 visitors. So then we have our funnel analysis. Why do we need that for, right? Usually you may have a specific process. People may actually go on your website, they look at the product, they ask for a quote, maybe there's a negotiation going on, or you have to evaluate them or something like that. But we want to also know, hey, when they go on my website, are they hitting every page, or do they see the homepage and say, hell no, I'm out, and they don't come back? So we want to actually keep track of those things. So here we can do a new funnel analysis. And I'm just specifying right now, it says step 1, step 2, and I can add additional ones if I want to, and specify the URL that I wanted to actually keep track of. So when you're going to my page now, it's actually keeping track of that. So let's go back to this one, another 3 visitors, and there's no data for me right now. So I have it on there, I add the code, people are visiting. Of course, we want to see data, but remember, even if you don't get results immediately, that's still a sign that there's something you need to work on. Because a lot of times we get the data, we're not sure what to do with it. But when you don't get data, that's also telling you, hey, something's missing. Am I actually promoting enough? Do people know about my website? Why am I getting 3 visitors? So this guy, obviously, it's not working out for him too well if he's only getting 3 visitors. Then we have my favorite feature in the Zoho's, in PageSense, is the heat map, where I kept mentioning earlier, you have your elements, you want to be able to keep track of everything going on, but now I can see, if I have a product page with 50 different products, with the heat map, I can see which one of them people are actually clicking the most. So this website actually did pretty well, because that's 52, and this one has 64. So let's take a look. So you notice right now that little red dot that looks like the movie Predator when they're scanning people? That's what it is. Here's your heat map, you have the website, and now I'm actually able to go in and kind of see what people are clicking on. So clearly people love his bio, because a lot of people are clicking on the bio. Let's go back to the other site and take a quick look here. Bio again. So there must be something really cool about his bio that everybody's clicking the bio and not his videos. Here is giving you the honest truth. What are people looking at? What are they clicking on? You may not like what you see, but that is going to help you now figure out what's the next step. What do we need to do to get those customers? Because clearly if you come in, you look at my bio, you're like, okay, what's wrong with this guy? We're just reading this, but there's nothing else. So this is where a bot can come in and actually answer more questions. Because here we're talking about what he has to offer. We're seeing his bio, but I'm not seeing pricing. I'm not really sure if there's any time frame or what's the consultation. How do I get in contact with him besides that email that he has on there? So we want to be able to get people to, just like when you walk into a store and that barista says, hi, welcome, they already have your attention at that point. You may want to avoid and not talk to them, but they actually are noticing you. So your website is that creepy person that you don't ever see and just keeping track of everything. All right, so we've done a bit of a heat map, and I've showed you how you can actually see the data that's showing up on there, right? Then you have your form analytics and also session recording. So form analytics, let's say you have, let's see which one I put on here. Again, I'm getting more visitors on that website, so that's a good sign for me. Here, I'm looking at my visitors, but if I had any type of form where people are signing up and maybe becoming a customer or a member, I can actually keep track of those. But right now, again, my website, nobody's starting anything. There's no conversion, and there's pretty much just people are coming, looking, and leaving, which is not a good sign for my website, just like a regular store. So I want to see now, they're coming in, they're not doing anything. How am I going to get those people to engage with my website? So we have all this data, which in my case, there's not a lot. So now I want to focus a bit more on capturing those customers, interacting with them, and see if I can generate those more leads. Because the goal is that when I'm looking at my website, I can now go in my CRM, not only see who visited the website, but if they're a lead, I can see what exactly they were looking at in the CRM. So I already have an idea of what is their interest. If you go to the PageSense website and you look at our pages, and that customer spent 4 minutes looking at that, so obviously there's something about the price that's stopping them. So why don't we send them a promotion maybe or a coupon to actually get them to sign up? So with the session recording, not only you're just seeing what, you can record, see the heat maps and see what people were clicking on, but with the session recordings, as you can see here, I have 31 recordings. So it's a thing, again, where I'm setting up a goal. I'm giving it a website, and now I'm going to specify, okay, how many recordings do I want to do? And let's just put my domain in there, next. And then here, what do we want to record? Visitors, social traffic, what is it that we're actually, for me, I'm doing every single thing because any data I can get at this point is helpful. And once I click next, what am I doing again? I'm going to specify what is it that I want to keep track of, if I want to record that or not, how I want this to proceed. So ultimately, PageSense is the way you're going to be able to get all that data and determine what your next step is. Is it worth keeping the website? Am I paying too much for those ads and nothing's really coming in? Is it even worth having a website in this kind of business? Because a lot of times it's cool, we want to adapt to the times. The website is not needed for our kind of business. Not to discourage you not to keep a website, but it's just to actually make sure your money's going in the right place. Then we have the A/B testing part of this. So I made that website. Clearly, it's not working out for me. The colors are not well. Maybe people are not seeing that bio and that home screen. So maybe I want to edit that website a bit if I wanted to attract people a little bit more. So we can do a new A/B test if we wanted. So we'll call this one test A, and I'll put the website that I want. So now I have my regular website. And clearly, I said earlier that there's something that's not working because I'm not getting the traffic that I want. So in PageSense, instead of having to change my entire website, I can create a variation. Just give it a name like I have right now. I have a black version, a white version, and I can create multiple different variations. But the whole goal is to see which one of those variations works, what's more appealing to people, the color. Is my website actually helping people that are disabled? Can they access my website? Can they use those keyboard strokes or all that? So here, I'm going to make some changes to my website from PageSense, and I can now start testing and determining what actually is working or not. So again, we're back to those elements, right? I can go ahead and change the colors if I wanted to. I have the text color as well, and some fonts. So those are all the things that I do not know about my website that maybe my customers are having issues with, and that's the goal. The goal is to know what is working for our customers, what is not working for our customers, so we can make those changes. I don't care how hard we worked on it. It took me maybe 3 days or a week or more, but if it's not working, this is where we need to make those changes. So I have my fonts, my different setups here as far as the alignment, if I wanted to change that. And what's good is that once you save this variation, so if we give it a name, so we call this test A, and now my test has been set up. I mean, I haven't really changed anything on here because this probably needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. But let's see. Do some color changes. What would be a better color I should have on there? Something brighter or darker or more vivid, like a red or yellow or something of that sort. So we'll see. I'm not a big fan of the text color. And yeah, it's just dark. I need to change the entire thing. But that's the goal I've been actually going for, to see what's actually working for me or not. Once I've made my changes, I can go ahead and save it. And of course, what's the goal once I've made those changes? There's always going to be a goal. No matter what changes you're making, why you're making the change, we need to know why you're tracking all of this. We're going to go back since I already have a couple of them running. And in addition to just running different variations of your website, you may actually have different websites. So this is where you can also do a split URL testing. So for me, actually, those are 3 different websites that I have. The main original one and those 3 pretty crazy looking ones that I've created. And now if I wanted to really keep full track of those 2 things with the split URL testing, I can actually do that. So if I wanted to compare those 2 sites to see how they do together, now I can actually go ahead, create those 2. And I already have one on here, and again, not a lot of visitors. And here I would actually get the different variations on there. All right, so we've been talking about patience. We've been talking about analyzing data. So now the next thing I want to talk about is interacting with our customers. So we weren't going to be that guy who walks up to you when you're at Best Buy, says, hey, how may I help you? Do you need anything? You're like, no, I'm just window shopping. It's just therapy right now. So for PageSense, we looked at the different features, right? So the funnel analysis, the heat map, the session recording, just some of the features and really see if your work type is working for you, but it's also the elements, the pictures is all that actually appealing to your customers when they go on your website. So some of the features we talked about, the heat map, and then of course, experimenting with your websites, right? Just trying different looks, different versions of it, and also analyzing everything that's coming in to see if that actually is working for us. So now we're at the last part, which is the engagement part, right? Are we talking to those customers? Are we engaging them? Right now, you went on my website, you have no idea what's going on. You can barely see the home button because it's so small. All you see is videos and anything else. So now, my little bot here is the one that's going to be actually helping me with all of that. So I've set it up in SalesIQ. So right now, it's showing me everybody who's on my website. But what's really cool is if I click on that, not only do I see who's on my website, I can see what device they're using, their location, but also the browser. So Samir mentioned earlier that you can actually start setting it up for maybe different regions where you're analyzing all of this and PageSense. But now I know who's going on my website. If somebody from Miami is coming all the time, so I know there's a lot of people interested in there from that region. So here, I'm already seeing who's live right now on my website. I can actually track the entire history. So if any chat were happening, we can actually set it up so we have an entire chat history of those conversations. So here's my chat history here. And for a website that only has 3 visitors, there's only been a lot of chat. Of course, we can do our feedbacks in here and reporting, but let's go to the setting page for a second and kind of look at the bot itself. It actually helps you even if you're offline, because if you think about it, customer goes on your store, the door is closed, they can talk to anybody. But if they go on your website, even if it's after hours now, you can set up the bot to be 24 hours or to help on those hours that you're not there. So here we have our operators, that's me, and then we have our different bots. One's a bunny, I'm not sure why I did that. But I have 2 different bots for my 2 different websites. Of course, I have my company details, the company name, location, fax number, all the very great important stuff that we like to fill. And then departments. Do you have customer service? Do you have support? Do you have a help desk team? Who's going to actually come in and actually help those customers based on their needs? So when you're creating your bot, not only can you create different bots for different websites, you're not limited to one, by the way, but you can also create departments for your organization. So the perfect example is I speak French. It's my first language. So if somebody's going in and they make that selection, so now they can chat with somebody who speaks that language. So you will determine, hey, who's going to help those customers depending on the language of that website, where they're located, and all that. Then we have a couple portal settings, do we want people to know that they can get a transcript of their transactions? Do you want to share the URL? Here, you're doing all the little legal and compliance stuff that we need to go over. You can turn on all those different things. My favorite one is block IPs. Some people are just annoying, so why not block them, right? So we can go ahead and here and also do that. I mentioned I had the 2 different websites, right? So you can see that I have 2 bots created, and they're both called Wallace for some reason. And they're each linked to a specific website, which are my 2 websites here. Now, automation. Nobody likes to do work if they can be done automatically. So if my bot can come in and do some work for me, generate that lead, send them that marketing email, or send them off to the next agent, why not? Why spend our time doing things that can be automated? So here is where you're going to automate what you want to happen. Is there a trigger? Once that person went on my bot and they started interacting with it, I'm creating a lead. But once that lead is created, what's next? Do I want to be here all the time and do it myself, or do I want the system to do it for me? So you're noticing there are a couple different options here. There's email schedules, chat monitor, chat routing, visitor routing, intelligent triggers. So if we wanted to add one here, you give it a name, and you're going to actually give it a criteria. Okay, is the visitor type somebody from a different location? Is there a contact in CRM maybe? What is it that we're actually triggering that? If the specific browser, or if maybe the domain is .ht, so I know they're from another country, which is IT, or something like that, now I can actually target those people and know what I'm going to actually send them, but also who's going to assist them based on their location, language, or whatever those criteria are. So we have our automation section, and then we have different templates that we can create. All right, and then lead scoring is another important one. Do we want to waste our time with leads that are just not worth our time? So what qualifies a lead? What doesn't qualify a lead? Is it the number of time they spend on our website? Is it the number of questions that they have? Or is it just that they keep clicking on products but they're not they're not purchasing anything? Do we know, like, what is it that we want to use to score a lead? So again, with the same customizations kind of that you have in the CRM where you can create different scores, right? If the person was on my website for more than 5 minutes, then definitely they're looking at something. So go ahead and give them a certain amount of points. So again, back to automation, this is where you're telling the system, hey, based on whatever scores that I have. So here is showing visitor email ID, actions performed. What is that action? Did they click on the link? Did they visit my other page? Did they do anything at all? Sign up? So based on those different criteria, we can actually generate points for those leads and determine if that lead is even worth our time or not. And then we have our integrations, because what's the point of all of this if I can't use it with another system? I hate having 50 different tabs open. So for me, usually my process is I create all the automations that I need, I set up my integration, and CRM becomes my best friend. Because I go in the CRM now, I can see the record, I can see the data, I can see how long they were on my website. And you can also now determine, hey, what am I going to send this person as far as content for marketing? Because we're all here because of marketing. We're sending emails, we're trying to get those leads, we want to know what they're doing. So if I go here to my little bot, he's going to show up. And I've set up some answers in here. Again, I'm not a coder, so this wasn't anything like that took me 3 hours to set up. It's very basic. Hey, well, how may I help you? And of course, what was the key thing missing on my website was pricing info. So that's the first thing that the bot is actually trying to give me is that pricing info that my website did not have at all. So okay, let's go ahead and get started. So he wants some information from me probably. And as I'm doing this interaction with the bot, it's going to create a lead right now in my CRM. And the whole goal is that, again, no more me copying that email, going to Gmail and sending that email. Oh, and speaking of email, it does want my email. So at that point, I've given the bot the information that it needs. A customer could have just created that, put that information in, and now they're created, but I could actually hand that off now to one of my customer service agents, where, okay, hey, this person needs pricing info. Now we can go ahead and help them answer their questions and see what's going on. And if I go to my CRM page, this new lead has been created. There was no delay. I didn't have to wait for it to generate in the system. I can see the new lead came in. And once this person gets off of my site, the chat transcript, how long they were on the site, all the data that we're doing on that website is being added to their profile. So you now have one view. You can see that record, see all their details, their address information, how long they were on your website, all the details that we really need will be right here on that screen, and I don't have to keep going back and forth between different systems anymore. So you can see just by a quick little answer question, a lead is created and you have the basic details that you want by putting that in the code. Now, of course, if we want to be one of those programmer guys, I can go back and say bot. And this is where I start scratching my head because like I said, I'm not a coder. So as soon as I see this, my eyes are like, nope, this is not for me. Find somebody to do it. I'm not playing with this. And that's the point, right? Somebody who does not know how to code, you can still have the option to put that in there. And the good thing is with us, you call Zoho and say, hey, I need help with this. You will have people to help you out and put this together. So what I'm trying to convey here is that even if you're a novice like I am, when it comes to site building, you're not a full-on web developer, you can put a site together, you can start getting that data and make sure your money's going in the right place. If you're paying for all those different ads, is it working? Is it worth your time? But also, can you get that lead? Are we losing that lead in 7 seconds from them going to my pretty bogus website here and saying, you know what, this is not for me and I'm getting the hell out? Or can I have that bot go ahead and fill in for me? And just by a quick little interaction, you can make the bot a little cuter because the other one was not pretty at all, the one before that. And with that, you have a lead created. Thank you, thank you, thank you.